I want to talk about spirituality today. There's a number of different ways of looking at spirituality. Our whole journey is actually all about reconnecting in a fuller and greater way with our Creator, with God. As you all know, we're deeply rooted in the Judeo-Christian tradition, right? And Jesus had a very simple way, in my eyes, of defining what is spirituality. He said, the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, and soul, all your being, and to love what? Your neighbor as yourself. He said, this is basically everything. You can get rid of all the traditions, all the laws, you can get everything. If you hold on to this one thing, you have the heart of what I'm teaching about, or the heart of spirituality, or the heart of how to connect with God in a full way. When you look at it simply like that, spirituality is anything that helps those three relationships in a positive way. Anything that I do that helps me connect with God in a stronger way is good. Anything that destroys my connection with Him is bad or evil. Anything that helps me grow my love relationship with you, with my neighbor, with people that I interact with is good. Anything that destroys my ability to love you, to connect with you, to care for you would be in the category of evil. If we use psychological terms, instead of saying good and evil, we would say what? Healthy and unhealthy, or functional and dysfunctional. We're talking about the same realities, but we're using a different language. The third part is our relationship with ourselves. So if you would say anything that helps you grow in your relationship with yourself, a greater love and connection with yourself is good. Anything that destroys your connection or your relationship with yourself would be bad or evil or unhealthy or dysfunctional. So in summary, spirituality is the quality of those three fundamental relationships: my connection with God, my ability to connect and love others around me, and also how I connect and love myself. Now, the difference between spirituality and religion is this. Religion is the institution that's been created to help us grow in those three relationships. And if it's doing a really good job of that, then it's good. If it's not doing a good job of that, or if it's facilitating hurting those three relationships, then religion gets into the category of unhealthy religion, right? It's not commitment to religious practices that is of primary importance as a commitment to build my life around things that will help me grow in those three relationships. And to allow myself to let go of the things that begin to destroy those three relationships. Oftentimes our religions will major in our connection with God, right? That dimension. It doesn't always have the skills, the abilities to, sometimes it does a real good job, but in terms of the package of helping me become a better husband, helping me become a more loving neighbor, helping me deal with my obstinate person down the street that's very hateful and very resentful and difficult to deal with. Is it helping me develop a greater connection with myself? Is it helping me learn to accept my giftedness and to embrace my weaknesses and learn to be gentle with myself when I'm in pain, and help me do the things that help grow in that when I look at myself, I'm just okay? Holly Kim and I lead an online program called Transform You. It's an intensive online coaching program for individuals and couples. If that's something that you're interested in, click on the link below and we'll get you some information. Now back to the teaching. And so those are the three fundamental relationships. And if we want to grow spiritually, the question is, What are the things that I'm doing to help my connection with God? What are the things that I'm doing to help my connection with being able to relate and love my neighbor better? What am I doing to grow in my connection with myself? Love and care. Now, I would like to think that that's part of what we really focus on, like the groundwork of what we do in Transform You is to help you grow in those three relationships. I remember when I was in the seminary, I was kind of, trying to sort out, because I was very committed to God, very committed to my relationship with Him, but it was very much mixed up with the institution of the Catholic Church, and it was mixed up with religious training, and it was mixed up. And when I started to separate those things, it was a real challenge for me. I mean, it was a very painful process. And not that I'm against the Catholic Church at all. I love so many things about it. And yet, great freedom came when I was given permission to say, okay, spirituality is different than the religious institution. And that it's okay to draw upon the things that are healthy there and to grow and to embrace that. But it's okay to let go of the things that are not facilitating those three relationships. There was a freedom that came because there is a separation. And my encouragement to you all is that, yeah, evaluate yourself and say, okay, what am I doing to help me grow in those three relationships with God, neighbor, and self? And do I have any things in my life that I need to let go of that are actually hurting those things? When we first started sort of cutting our teeth in the counseling arena, the mental health, the coaching, we did a lot of work with abuse, substance abuse, addiction, and so forth. And I noticed, I said, do you know what the amazing thing about being caught in a cycle of addiction is that it's a process that destroys those three relationships. That as I'm stuck in this process of hurting myself, hurting those around me because of the behaviors I'm engaging in, and making that basically, when we're stuck in an addiction, that becomes the most important thing in our lives, and it becomes somewhat of an idol, right? It becomes my God, and it starts destroying those three relationships. And those that have been engaged in addictions for a real long period of time and have a horrible sense of who they are and feel guilty about what they've done to their relationships and are disconnected from God. Like, that's when I finally understood what the definition of hell is, right? Hell is, perhaps it is a place you can go, but perhaps it's a present state that gets created when those three relationships get destroyed. And so we're saying, okay, we need to revive, we need to restore, we need to help us restore our relationship with others. We need to help restore for you to see the beauty and the awesomeness of who you are and what God has created you to be. And for you to begin to open up your heart that there is a creator, that you have been created. He cares for you. He loves you. He's pursuing you, and he wants to connect with you. How you figure out how to do that, you got to figure that out, right? We can point you different ways, but that's your journey, right? But those things are so important. So spirituality is those three relationships: God, neighbor, and self. And anything that helps facilitate those in a positive way is good, healthy, and life-giving.